Hey guys, welcome to another budget closeout video. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you my October 2021 budget closeout. Hey guys, welcome to Budget with the July Dreamer. My name is Miranda, and on this channel I share all things personal finance, specifically sharing tips on how to save, how to invest, as well as how to budget. If these topics interest you, then please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into today's video. So first things first, I would like to go over my goals that I set for the month of October and see how I did, and then I will move over to my laptop and I'll walk you through exactly how I spent the money in the month of October, and then also share a couple of accomplishments that I was able to achieve in the month of October. So let's begin. So the first goal that I had for the month of October was to save £1,000 towards my emergency fund. So if you've watched my Transfer Tuesday, then you already know that I was able to add more than £1,000. I was able to add 1,900 towards my emergency fund, which then led me to accomplish my first goal for the year, my first big financial goal for the year, which was to reach £10,000 in my emergency fund. I was able to reach that on the 15th of October. You guys, I am still on a high. I'm still celebrating, and I'm going to share a video on how I was able to do that. So that was goal number one, which was accomplished. Second goal was to use credit card for variable expenses and to pay off each transaction once it cleared. So yes, I was able to use, for my variable spending, I was able to use my credit cards, except I did have an emergency dental surgery, so my teeth are still hurting right now. So this is the one transaction that I wasn't able to clear because I'm waiting for my company to pay me back. Then I'll be able to clear that. So I had to pay £700 to get my teeth done. It was an emergency surgery and it wasn't fun at all. I'm still in pain, but I'm glad that it has been done. So I was able to accomplish the fact that I was able to use variable spending on my credit card, but the second part of making sure I clear after every balance clears, I didn't do that. So that's a fail. Then the third one was to budget for my dad's birthday. My dad's birthday is on the 1st of October. So I was able to do that. I'm really happy, and I stuck to my budget for that. Then the fourth thing was to budget for COVID tests for my trip. So I do have a trip in a couple of days, so I budgeted for that, and I've booked the COVID test, which I get to do tomorrow, hopefully. And then the other thing, the fifth goal that I had, was to budget for Christmas, which I have, but I've not done any present buying. So I know what my family wants, so I'm going to start buying those in the month of November, because some of them it's not going to be big presents or anything like that. So I kind of decided it can wait a little bit. So yeah, then moving over to some of the accomplishments. So the first one, like I said, is the fact that I was able to reach £10,000 in my emergency fund. This is a goal that I'm still on a high on. Another thing that was very unexpected that I was able to do was I started buying Bitcoin on a weekly basis. So I tried it for the month of October and see if I could do that, and it actually worked out in my favor, and I'm liking that. So I'm going to continue in the month of November, but I'll be doing it bi-weekly as opposed to weekly. Weekly was just something I was trying in October, and now in November I'm going to try bi-weekly, and then I'll see how I progress with December. So that is something unexpected that happened. Obviously, the second thing I've mentioned already is the fact that I did have need to have dental surgery, so that was an unexpected expense of £700. I refused to use my emergency fund. I just saved it up, so I'm not using it, but thankfully I did put in a claim at work, so I'm just waiting for that to be paid out. Another thing unexpected that happened is the fact that I reached 300 subscribers on my YouTube. So thank you so much to everybody that has started to follow my channel. So if you're new here, I talk about personal finance, specifically talking about investing, talking about saving and budgeting, and today's video is all about budgeting. So yeah, these are the goals that I had set, the accomplishments and unexpected things that happened in the month of October. Now I'm going to move over to my laptop where we can start walking you through how I actually spent my money in the month of October. Okay, now let's move over to the budget tracker. So for the income section, obviously this is blocked out. I have mentioned this many times why I blocked this out, but for the month of October, I thought I was going to work with 4,500, but I ended up working with 7,903 and 64 pence. So moving over now to, I will skip over total expenditures and move straight to my pay yourself first section. So this is my savings and investments. Emergency fund, I plan to put £800, even though my goal was £1,000. £800 is what I saw I could realistically afford in my budget, but I ended up putting 1,900, so double what I had said I wanted to put. Then my fund, this is a new line item that I added. So I normally put money in this one, but I never track it in this tracker, so I decided it made sense to add it in here. So I didn't budget anything for that, but I put £600. My Plum savings, and thank you to the person that signed up using my affiliate link. I always leave it in the description bar below. So I budgeted to add at least £50 in my roundups, and added £58 and 68 pence. Month ahead, I always budget about 100. I always have £1,000 in my month ahead account, but for the purpose of this budget, I just said 100. Sometimes I don't even put anything, but carryover for a month of October into November is 1,806 pence. Then 100 days savings challenge, which I started at the end of September, and I did do an update last month. I thought I was going to put at least £50 from all my roundups. I managed to put £24 and 3 pence. So in total, when it comes to savings, I thought I was going to put £1,000, but I was able to put 4,388 and 71 pence. So please bear in mind that this includes my month ahead. So if I remove month ahead there for a second, I was able to send 2,582 and 71 pence towards my savings. So then moving over to my investment contribution. So with my Vanguard ISA, I said £400, that's what I added. My Vanguard pension, I said 100, that's what I added. And then my general investment account, I thought I was only going to put £25, but I ended up putting 212 and 43 pence, and this is because I started buying weekly Bitcoin for $10.99. So this is why this increased. So total contributions, I thought 525. I ended up putting 712 and 43 pence. Moving over to my fixed expenditures. So for home expenses, everything went as budgeted. So obviously I budget more than the actual amount, so this is why there's a difference of £2 and 83 pence. For my insurance, again, everything went as budgeted there, but again, I budget more than what I actually pay, so this is the difference of £2 63 pence. For recreation as well, it's the same thing. I budget over, so there was £2 and 3 pence left. Then the change here came in health and lifestyle, and as I mentioned, I did need to have dental surgery, but before that was determined that I needed to have, I went to the dentist and I had to pay for that visit. So for the dental visit, I budgeted 20, but actually the normal fee now is how much? It's £23.80. So I under budgeted here to begin with, but then when I went to the dentist and then I had to have that procedure that I put on my credit card, I ended up having to get prescription as well. So the prescription brought it all over. So my prescription was £30.48 for all of the strong pain meds that they gave me, and then for local analgesic it was £2.79. So I overspent here for my dental for about £37 and 7 pence. And here I've made a note the fact that I have not included £700 that I put on my credit card because I'm getting that money back. This is why I have not put it in the budget. Normally I would. So I budgeted to spend for health and lifestyle £97. I spent 129 and 17 pence. So definitely more than what I budgeted. For my personal spending, here I actually did really well. I didn't go over in anything. I budgeted 220. I spent 265 pence, which is pretty good. For tithe and giving, I actually spent less, which is very unusual for me. I normally prefer to give more than less, but it's how it worked out in the calculations, but it's fine. I did give 400, but the calculations of how everything worked out, because some of it were just fees, so I just put it how it was. So a difference of £1.20, and I hope I'll be able to make up for that in the November budget. So for fixed expenses, I thought I was going to spend 1,913. I spent 1,917 and 13 pence. Then moving over to variable expenses. So with variable expenses, food, I'm still keeping within budget, but I under budgeted here because I did have guests. This is what entertaining means. So I thought I was going to spend £30. I actually ended up spending £52 and 79 pence. So this is the only category where in actuality I went over, but when you look at it, I actually budgeted 200 and I spent 200. So I just made sure that I moved the money around. So instead of eating out more, I just moved that money towards entertaining, and instead of buying a lot of snacks, I moved it again to entertaining. So this is how I was still able to stay within my food budget. Miscellaneous spending, I planned to spend 277, but I only spent 47.88. This is because I decided to add the money that I was going to put to extra mortgage repayment. I decided to add that towards my emergency fund, so the £200 went to emergency fund instead. So I didn't spend as much as I thought I would. Then transportation. So I say this when I gave my mid-month budget check-in that I overspent in fuel, but technically I didn't, because I was able to make money from the stitch show that I attended with my mother. So I made £100 and then I used the money from that for the fuel. So the budget that I had set of £65, I did spend it just fine, but then I underestimated how many trips we were going to make back and forth to the stitch show. So I ended up spending £106 and 74 pence. So overall with variable expenses, I budgeted 562 and I only spent 366 and 82 pence. So you can see that I still have some categories where I overspent, but overall I didn't actually overspend, which is pretty interesting. So now we're going to move over to my sinking funds, and because I already shared my sinking fund update, I'm not going to go too much into this. I'll just go into the ones where there was activity. So home maintenance, I didn't budget to add anything, but I added £43 because I needed to spend stuff for my home. So I spent £42 and 70 pence. So there's 30 pence left in home maintenance. Then for my car maintenance, I didn't budget anything, but I was able to add £50 because I spent £3.56. If you remember the last month, so the month of September, I actually overspent with respect to renewing my car insurance, so I was in deficit of £34 and 76 pence. So I needed to add £50 to bring it back into green. So now I have £11 and 62 pence left in the car maintenance account. Then for birthdays, again, this is another one that I was in deficit. I said I'll add 50. I added 50 because I was in deficit of £22 and 86 pence. Now I have £27 and 14 pence in my birthdays pot. Then subscriptions, so for both Disney Plus and Prime membership, I said I would add £20-30 respectively, and I was able to add £20 in each. So I have £20 kept in each of the subscription pots. Travel, I'm traveling this month, so I spent a lot of money. So I said I wanted to put 150 towards vacation. I ended up spending 214 and 55 pence. There's a lot that I spent on, and I emptied my travel fund that I had over 1,400 in, so I had to move money around. Some of it I sent towards my emergency fund, and then the rest of it I just paid for all the remnants that I had left for my holiday. So I actually spent 1,641 and 55 pence. Then for day trips, I did have a day trip in the month of October and I spent £94. This wasn't something I'd budgeted for, but I had the money, so I spent £94. So I thought I was going to add £500 towards my sinking funds. I ended up adding 518 and 55 pence. And then I spent 1,881 and 81 pence from my sinking funds. Then that was because I initially started out with a balance of 1,742 and 38 pence in my account. This is why this is possible. So As we close the month of October, I am ending with 379 and 12 pence in my sinking funds. So this is how I was able to spend my money for the month of October. So if we go to total expenditures, savings and investments, I wanted to add 1,525. I was able to add 5,101 and 14 pence. But please remember, here we have to remove 1,806 because that's carryover money into the month of November. Then fixed expenses, I thought I'll spend 1,913. I spent 1,917 and 13 pence. Variable expenses, I thought I'll spend 562. I spent 366 and 82 pence. Sinking funds, I wanted to add 500. I added 518 and 55 pence. So to make it a zero-based budget, I spent the entire 7,903 and 64 pence. And in spent, I mean I allocated the money to the various jobs that I wanted my money to do for me. So this is all I wanted to share with respect to my October 2021 budget closeout. There are so many mistakes that I made in the month of October, but there were also some very good money moves that I made. I'm very happy about that. The biggest goal that I accomplished in the month of October was obviously saving £10,000 towards my emergency fund. I'm going to keep that £10,000 like that for as long as possible, and I've had emergencies already. Today is the 1st of November and I've already got one emergency, but I'm not going to touch my emergency fund. I refuse. I worked too hard to save that, so I'm going to see if I can just cash flow the emergency as opposed to using my emergency fund. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share for my October budget closeout. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video.